studios. You're in the lab with your host, Joshua Diaz. What's going on? How's everybody doing today? February 28th, 2022, 5:03 here on the West Coast. It's good to be here. Happy Monday. As happy as a Monday can be. Mondays are good. Mondays are even better when we're joined by your favorite and mine, Chris McDonough. How are you, Chris?
Mr. Josh. Hey, buddy.
Hey, thanks for being here.
Well, thanks for the invite. You know, I always love showing up here on the lab with the rats. This is awesome.
They're all the lab rats. A good group of people, aren't they?
Hey, they most definitely. Hey, everybody. Good evening. Hopefully you're doing well. Had a good night.
Your show last night was excellent and very informative. Steve, as always, was slick as ever. Smart man. He doesn't miss much. I mean, you guys could probably dissect those videos for 5 hours at a time. And
Steve's the bomb.
He's good stuff, man.
He's good at what he does.
And so, today here we are. Seemingly some developments in the Summer Wells case that we will dive into. I will get your reaction. I'll give you my opinion on what's transpired, what is transpiring, because it's interesting that there is some movement. What kind of movement that is, we'll break it down for you and give you our personal opinions of what we think. And as always, if you haven't, on the way in, please hit the like, subscribe, share. If you'd like to become a member, please do. If you'd just like to be a subscriber, that's always appreciated. And make sure to check out, if you don't subscribe to the interview room, go ahead and we'll drop Chris's links in the chat. He is so gracious with his time with us here on the lab. And Chris, it's so great to have you. How are you today?
I'm doing great, buddy. I'm always honored to get the invite from you. Really am.
I appreciate you. Appreciate you being here. Last time you were on, I had saved a voicemail that you'd left me, and one day I'm going to get through that smoothly.
Hang on, I gotta get a boot here for a collection. You were talking about, now this goes either this way or this way. No, go ahead, hit me. I was ready tonight. See, I surprised you. You
knew that. So did you know that that there would be something?
I'm learning.
Okay, well, so
I'm learning, and I love it. Absolutely love it. It's hysterical. But so, yeah, when did I make this call?
I checked the timestamp and it was somewhere over the weekend. I was probably sleeping, but this one's it's a good one.
3 in the morning.
About 3 in the morning. Yeah, something like that. Maybe
I remember making it. No,
maybe later, but it was you were up pretty late. But let's go ahead and listen to it while people are still making their way in. And here it is. Aloha, Holmes. Hey, just seeing what you was up to. I been practicing my ukuleles, and Karen finally got sick of it, and she kicked me and Buddy out the airstreams. The strings of the ukuleles is kind of greasy. I was eating nachos and playing it yesterday, and I dropped a bunch of chips down in the middle of the ukuleles. And in between strummings, I try to reach down there and get me a nacho chip. I might be onto something here, Holmes. A nacho lady.
Nacho.
Oh, look at little Buddy. She's so cute. Buddy, hey, knock it off. Let go of my khakis. Let go of my khakis. Oh, you little rascal. He's full of it. This ain't my first rodeos. He should have known better than to wear these. Every time I wear them, he looks at them like I'm wearing a hot dog around my ankles. And as I call that DLR. Doesn't look right. Oh, my loves, my darlings, let me back in the airstreams tonight. And I said, what about breakfast at Tiffany's? She said, I think I'd remember the film. And as I recall, I think we both kind of likes it. All right, Holmes, I was just checking in, seeing what you was up to. I gotta drop buddies through the emergency hatch in the top of the airstream so he can let me back in. K-Dogs isn't too happy about the ukuleles. With so much drumming in the airstreams, it's kind of hard being Chris McDuff-ish. That's for my homies. Give you something to crip walk to. Anyway, take care. All right. Hey, K-Dogs, I broke another string on the ukuleles. Can you not hide my strings, please?
There's only 4 of them. I love. Where'd you get Buddy?
Buddy, stop.
Oh, I know who that is. That's Otis as his stunt double.
Hey, K-Dogs, he ripped my loafers and he ripped my khakis again. I know you told me not to buy the Brooks Brothers, but I had to do it. The drip never stops.
That's right. That's right.
And there it is. Another
man, that was another classic. And I've got to figure out. Oh, let me see. Did you call? No, I'm not. That was somebody else.
Good.
I'll play it next time.
But, I was a little worried.
Yeah, I can wonder who that would have been. We'll figure that out next show.
Otis. That was.
Is he part of the Actors Guild?
What's that?
Is he part of the guild? You know, is he union?
Yes. He is, yes. But he let his card lapse, so he doesn't get paid on time.
Yeah, I love that little guy. Hey, you got big news with him though.
Yeah, potty trained.
Boom. Absolutely.
Potty trained, and we're both potty trained. He's potty trained. I'm potty trained. We're living the good life, and so very, very proud. He's something else, man. He is an incredible little thing, and it's been fun to see him from, such a little guy, and in 3 short months, how much he's progressed. It's been a lot of fun to watch him do that. And he's such a, he's a good dog, man. He's a lot of fun. He rips my khakis sometimes too.
Yeah. He's a good actor.
Yeah. I had to hold the microphone up to him and pin him upside down. He was having a great time.
I bet you did. Otis is he's the man. He's the man. The Oscar goes to.
It always goes for Otis, never me.
That's right.
And so, the big news, we can really, it sounds like we have some stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
I say big news of the day. It's news. It's newsworthy for sure. And it was reported that there's a search going on for Summer. I don't know if it's still going at this very moment, but actively today they were. And here is a news clip from, I believe, WJHL. Play that here for you.
More breaking news at 4. For the first time in weeks, the agents of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation are combing through Hawkins County woods today during what they call a planned search for missing 6-year-old Summer Wells. The TBI tweeted the agency focused on what they call previously identified areas of interest. The small-scale search was one of many efforts to try to bring Summer home. Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson revealed the search now involves 35 officers with the TBI and the Sheriff's Office. All this for Summer Wells. The Amber Alert still active today. If you have any information that could help authorities find her, call 1-800-TBI-FIND, or you can email tips to tbi@tn.gov.
And so, a little small piece there. There's some things to unpack in there. Chris, what is your first, just putting it out there, What's your just initial reaction to hearing that?
You ever heard of the cistern effect?
I have not.
You know what a cistern is, right?
Yes.
Okay, so sometimes cisterns have holes, and over time, what's been preventing the water from getting out is something clogging it. Well, sometimes when you remove that clog, potentially, you have a flow. And in this case, it could be a couple of things. Um, when they say a previously, designated area or something to that effect, what was the verbiage? Something.
Previous areas of interest.
Okay, so
But that's stemming from other searches what they're
yeah, they're saying that this was an area that we always thought we were interested in.
and now we're
But
back.
right. So the question is, what has moved them back to that property? And the only thing that can ever move a 35-person payroll back to that property is evidence that potentially could be in that geographic region. So somebody potentially, in my opinion, could be talking. And so the question is, who is that somebody? And, I think we all have ideas, but we don't know. I don't know. But, I think we're starting to see the cistern have leaks. And go ahead.
Oh, I'm just thinking out loud with you. I think you're kind of right. It's the divide and conquer aspect. Maybe that's the angle that they're using now. Now they had a reason to put Dawn in jail. Let's just get these two away from each other and see what we could come up with. So would you assume, I mean, and assuming is always a terrible thing when we don't know. I'll say it for me. I assume that it would be, and I don't know this, but it be Don talking. That's my assumption. He's the one in custody. They have access to him every day. He's not going anywhere. He's sobered up. He may be a little more emotionally stable because he can't mask things with drugs and alcohol. And even the most hardened of people, the most, messed up individuals sometimes do have a conscience. Whether or not it's the same conscience that we all have, I don't know. But that's how I take it.
Well, and another piece to that, to dovetail into your thought process, is watch the reaction of the circle of influence around them. Just
Right.
see what information, what counter information starts coming out. If people start getting, thrown under the bus, other YouTubers or anybody. I mean, just a variety of sources that, they didn't like the narrative. And so now that the narrative cannot be, and Steve and I talked about this last night, scripting. Now that the script cannot be redirected, the director will start rewriting. And, that's beautiful. It's the gift that keeps on giving. It becomes, problematic because if the cops, i.e. TBI, the sheriff's department, if they find something, or maybe let's say they got an anonymous phone call that said, look, here's what I know, go check this area. And, they go out there and they discover something, whatever it is. I mean, when Leticia Hernandez was found, I found her clothing. And that's Karen, she's sneezing. Sneezy.
Sneezing on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, exactly. She's I don't know, she'll watch it and she'll be really embarrassed. No.
Probably.
Honey, I'm not telling him you're sneezing.
Oh no.
Okay.
Here we go.
That's not me.
You're
Oh,
eating
Dylan goes, good thing it's me, Dad.
Ah! Yeah, Dylan doesn't care.
Busted. Thanks, Dill.
Good thing it's me.
Go get a job.
Get in the control room, Dills, and stop sneezing. Oh, that's too
That's
good.
it. Can they get it in trouble for helping a suspect? Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, it all depends. It all depends what they knew. But
yeah, right here, it could be an opportunist search.
Could be.
Yeah, but I mean, we have 35, and it's 35 law enforcement officials out there searching. And as previous as that is, and they consider that a small search, and I don't consider it a small search by any stretch of the imagination. But the fact of the matter is, here we go again, searching in the wilderness for a child that is supposed to have been, by the parents' own words, abducted. And that doesn't mean that does, first of all, they say that there's no evidence of that, but I guess the child could be abducted and then left in the woods, somewhere. However, TBI still states that there's no evidence of that. The search wasn't that far from what I hear from the home, within miles. And so it's one of those things where they're looking for a body. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for a Summer Wells that is no longer with us, in my personal opinion, again. And that's where the searches have led them. They're not going to go out there just, I say this sometimes. It's kind of like how you say, it's not your first rodeo. I say they're not going to go out there willy-nilly and just go out on a hunch. It's going to be credible information. It's going to be credible intelligence. There's an absolute reason, now that things are drying up where they are, that they're searching these specific areas. What exactly those areas are, I'm not 100% sure. And I'm sure in the coming days, maybe we will get more. The reason that, first of all, the reason that they don't tell us exactly where they're looking is they don't want somebody going out there and tampering.
Yeah, they're until they find something, they're gonna be very, very, cautious about tipping their hat.
And so, they're out there again. They're saying it's a previously planned search, but who knows if that's, I mean, I get what they want to do, but you made a plea. You told Candace last night. I mean, is it's possible that she took your advice. I know she watches you.
I hope so. I meant it in sincerity. I mean, if it was an accident, even there's still time, even today, to say, look, here's what happened. If it's an intentional act, then people could go down for accessory after the fact. And that's another problem. You probably wouldn't be charged with the actual event if it was intentional, but whoever was, they would go down, and then all the other peripheral players, who had, knowledge. They had knowledge, meaning they knew. Okay, and what the chance they take is the principals, the parties, if there are one or more, saying, the truth to save their own butt. And because it's one thing to, to gather around, hold hands and sing Kumbaya. It's another thing when, the FBI is sitting on the other side of the table and saying, what do you want? 10, 15, or 20? Door number 1, 2, or 3. You make the choice. I'm going to give you about 2 seconds to think about it and go. Now, if they're not going to tell you what they have, okay, until you decide not to pick a door. And that's how it rolls.
One of the things that you said.
I used to walk in. Go ahead.
Nope.
No, I mean, the old saying, everything I know about being a detective, I learned on the internet. Okay. Right?
Right.
Okay. Well, there you go, Sherlock. Figure it out.
There's a lot of internet detectives, and some do some very decent work, and some do
great work.
Most are very reckless and crazy and out of bounds. But that's neither here nor there. And the thing is that, and I do want to say, for some reason, and I'm going to rant for a second about StreamYard. When it shows how long you've been a member, it doesn't show up on my StreamYard feed. Does it for you, Chris? When it says like a new member shows up, but a 4-month member won't show up for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't. I think it's a glitch in their software.
Yeah, it drives me nuts, and I just want to say that, and I will address that. But thank you so much, everybody who has been a member for any amount of time. I totally appreciate it, and thank you for the kind words. I think so. When we're talking about, or when you were talking about summer with Steve last night, it was fantastic. Some of the breakdowns. One thing that you said that stood out to me, there was many things, but one of the things that you said was that that law enforcement really isn't in contact with Candace, that they're not the same way, not the same way that Brandy Neal is in contact basically every single day with law enforcement. There's a stark contrast there. We all understand that. And so I just wanted to bring that up to you, because you would think that that to me, that just keeps reinforcing that they are suspects. Like, it's just a constant thing in my mind, but I still don't know why they don't just flat out come out and say, yes, they are suspects. I guess he has, but he hasn't really said. Sheriff Ronnie Lawson hasn't really singled them out. He hasn't singled anybody out. And all he does is blanket everybody in Summer Wells' case as a suspect. Is that good enough for you? I mean, not saying you personally, but is that the proper way that you would do it?
Well, it's a two-edged sword. And, we use, I'm just going to shift for a second back to Larry Miliete, for an example. Okay. As you know, okay. And those that watch the press conference now know, I was behind the scenes working with the Chula Vista Police Department on that. And while it was an active investigation, we all knew that Larry Miliete was the guy. Okay. But they never came out and said he's the guy until they were getting ready to position themselves. But the problem that they had was he had a lot of guns, and he had 3 children. So if you come out and say, yeah, he's the guy, okay, i.e. he's suspect number 1, too early, then you risk a hostage situation or potential, murder-suicide. So, you have to, diplomatically dance around the problem. Now, for Ronnie Lawson, what he's dealing with is when early on he said everything's still on the table, i.e., everybody is a person of interest. Go ahead. What were you going to say? I'm listening.
I'm just listening.
Everybody was a person of interest. Well, he's put that into the public arena because maybe there are peripheral players. There's still so much unknown. I mean, there's obviously great suspicion on all of the activities that have been taking place on that piece of property. Evident of the fact that here we are, whatever it is, 8 months later and 9 months later, they're back there again in that geographic region. Okay. Now, again, a high-risk suspect would not just take the child and drive a mile or so and drop her off or, commit the crime there. They're gonna skedaddle. She's too high risk. She is too high risk for being, in the area. Now, the other question then is, well, what is really the timeline here? And so and that's why they've kept it so close to their vest and their chest. So I think the FBI's been playing it very meticulously and, in my opinion, right in the ballpark, sitting there watching all these YouTube videos, eating hot dogs, and just going, okay, put that on the board. And with the most recent developments, Don, he was that, in my analogy of the cistern, he was the guy that was clogging the wheel because he has the most to lose.
Right.
With Jeannie, with Mary. And so now you see all these peripheral players start to attack the victim of this long life behavior. And that's just wind in a snowstorm. Go ahead.
And somebody says here, why should he say that? Lawson owes us nothing. Obviously, I'm not saying that Lawson answers to me or Chris or you or anybody. I'm talking about strategy itself. I understand why he's doing it. I saw your comment earlier. It said read between the lines. I'm not dumb. I get what it is. I get it. I'm just, because that's not always the same strategy, though. And the reason I ask is because if they were to say, if he was to come out and say, Dawn and Candace are suspects in the disappearance of their daughter, that even puts a little more heat on them. And that was my question as to, is that something that you see possibly happening as this goes forward? I mean, will they, with more, if they start to zero in, I mean, is that something that they would do, or are they just going to leave it like this until, somebody's arrested or breaking the case?
Well, you see, and even to that comment, that's a really great comment. Okay. He doesn't owe us anything, but there's also
I love it.
Right. To your point, there's also a second side to that. What if he did? And in a community where, quote, the holler has ears. Okay. What if somebody did see them together and has not said anything? So you see, that's why it's one of those decisions that the investigators are carefully making these choices, these word choices. Each one of those words and those press conferences and the way the PIO delivers it, they're selected for a reason to ignite a response in relationship to suspicious behavior. And they just don't write it down and read it.
And I want to say that as the show goes along, I am keeping track of good questions, super chats, super stickers, and we will go back to those. So if you don't see it immediately or whatever, we'll go back. I think that's probably the best way to do it. So looking forward, you don't think that this was just an out of the blue search? They have to be onto something, right? I mean, they wouldn't just send people out there just because, well, we've been through these areas, but we want these specific areas checked again, or checked further, or taking a deeper look. Because I mean, you can pass right over stuff when you're searching for a little child. I mean, you've done it many times.
Yeah, things can get messed in. Where I think everybody will, when they really know, when we all really know, is you potentially may see in the middle of the night, potentially, a car trip. We used to call them field trips. You check them out, put them in the back seat and say, let's go, show me. And you drive, and the perp goes, right there. Right where? Right there. Get out, show me. And you have them walk you right to it and go, right here. You say, okay, let's go, get back in the car. And you get them out, and then you get your evidence team in.
And it is pretty amazing when, say, like, people are trying to save themselves from, say, life or the death penalty or whatever, where people have been looked for years. And I mean, they'll walk you right to the exact spot. I've seen it happen a bunch. I'm sure you've had it happen. I mean, they will, and they've been searching for these people, these missing folks, for so long, and somebody just walks 20 minutes. All right, let's go right to the spot. I'll walk you right there. And I have a feeling that somebody could do that. Somebody knows, Chris. Somebody could walk law enforcement there right now. I don't know who the somebody is, but I have a feeling that it circles around Ben Hill Road, and that they could walk law enforcement today if they wanted to, and put an end to this. But the problem is, we're dealing with selfish humans.
Well, and that's why last night, in all sincerity, I was really talking to Candace. Both Steve and I were. It's like, look, we get it. Ben, there, we understand. But now is the time. While he's locked up, because I mean, think of it this way: the other scenario that potentially, remember, I've always said there are two trains here, right? Okay. They're coming down both sides of the track. You got Summer on this train, and you've got Jeannie and Mary in this train. Okay. But they're running parallel with each other. At some point, those trains are going to try to merge into the same station. It's just how it works. It's just how it goes. Okay. So hypothetically, and this is my opinion, if I had the information that the investigators have, and I know some have said they don't, well, I'm here to tell you, I talk to them. They have it. Okay. And you say whatever you want about me, I care less. Okay. I said the same thing about Miliete. I said the same thing about Barry Morphew. I've said the same thing about a lot of people. Okay. There are other things that I have connected, i.e., spoken to the investigators. Okay. And there are times where you have to say, okay, as an investigator, what's my best angle here? Well, the court just, booked him for 6 months. Well, that's leverage. Okay. That's leverage. So what they each have to do, and we said this last night, it's, you now have to, they have to start looking for their own, light at the end of the tunnel. Because no matter what, something's going to come down, and it will probably come first from Utah, okay, on those problems with Jeannie and Mary. Okay. And those on the internet who like to, take shots at them, you're going to wake up one morning and realize in Utah, that's a felony. That's a felony. Okay, to intimidate witnesses or victims of SA, especially when they were children. And you may find your name on a sheet. Mine won't be there. Trust me. I may be on the witness sheet, which is fine. I'll put my hand up, not a problem. Okay, all day long. Just did it 2 weeks ago in Virginia on another case. And so all of the, the stuff now becomes relevant. So that's why I was talking to her last night saying, please, if don't call me, call TBI, call FBI and say, I need to tell you something. If that's the case. And if it's not, then all is well. No problem. Okay. But still get that guy out of your life, because he's got other problems coming, and that's the one thing I'm hoping. Maybe she picked up the phone today. I don't know. I do not know. Okay. I'm hoping that she unburdened. This is a great comment from Moonlight. That she unburdens herself. Thank you, Moonlight View, for saying that. Awesome. I agree with you. I totally agree with you 1,000%. Because what isn't this going to be a total tragedy, no matter what? If it was an accident, if it was intentional, no matter what, we cannot fix it now, other than with the truth. The truth is what, we have all these religious people around them and stuff. Well, turn to them and say, tell the truth. What does the Lord say? I wish you were either hot or cold, so I can spew one of you out of my mouth.
Yeah, he doesn't like lukewarm.
No, he doesn't like lukewarm. And this is exactly what's being projected.
And actually respects being cold or hot more than, half in, half out. And that's a lot of what we got here.
Right.
A lot of hiding behind the holiness of the church when it's convenient. And there was a question, and I'm gonna answer it right now because I thought it was a fantastic question. If they weren't living as they live, do you believe people would treat them the same way? Yes and no. That's kind of, to me, just part of the issue, is that the kids lived in Chris, you were inside there. It wasn't fit for a child. It wasn't fit for them. It wasn't fit for Don and Candace. That is the start. That's just the start. I think a lot of the reason they get treated the way they get treated is because of how they act, how they are. And then if you want to combine the living conditions that they put their children into and just the carelessness of everything. So maybe at the beginning they would get a bit more, but right away, what happens is you find out that they have extremely troubled pasts. That's first and foremost. Don's been getting arrested since, I don't know, 1903. And, he's got a rap sheet, from here to the moon. Candace the same way. And so that's where opinions are started to be formed. That's the problem. And I think that they would be treated different if they seem to actually care. I don't think the living conditions, they would get criticized, of course, for that. Who wouldn't? But what say you?
Well, the easy answer to that is Christopher Watts. That guy's living in middle suburbia and he slaughters his family. And people got it quickly in their heads. They're like, something's
Because
wrong
of
with
the
this.
way he acted.
Yeah. Something's wrong with this. So, their environment, I've been in some of the most violent gang neighborhoods in the country in Southern California. And you see some houses that, in the video that are just tore up. But then you see this kid come out and he's like, "Hey, what's up, Detective McDonough? How you doing, buddy? How's school? Oh, I'm making it, man. I'm making it." Okay, that means you're breaking it. That's what I used to say. Yep, I'm making it, man. That means you're breaking it. Okay, keep rolling. And I told you about, some the guy. I think I mentioned it before, but Fat Sean. Okay, from Main Street. Okay, I mean this guy's like, right there by Century, by the Coliseum, and he's, I caught him one night with his kid in the back seat, and that kid ended up graduating from LA Sheriff's Academy. And he broke the cycle. Good for him. Well, drugs is a choice. I mean, it becomes an addiction, but it starts out as a choice. And that choice is because it's covering pain. That they're hiding, not that they're bad people. They're not bad people. They're good people with bad experiences. Okay? And everybody deserves that. And I started, even when I started talking to Candace, I didn't disrespect her in any way, shape, or form.
Not at all.
I thought through, okay, what is she under? And right away, I knew she was under Don's thumb because he avoided me for 4 days straight. And then he finally called me. He called me. I didn't call Don. Because when I left Candace, I said, hey, maybe I can, talk to Don. What do you think? Maybe have him call me. And she said, yeah, I'll have him call you. I said, okay. The only thing I thought was suspicious was, could he have been in that house at some point because of the pizza stop, i.e. at the General Dollar. And then when we got up there and I went in there and the TV was on downstairs in the dungeon. And then when I went outside and I said, can I look inside the shed? She goes, no. So I started thinking, okay, did he leave the house and is he hiding in the shed? I didn't know. Okay. And then, well, here's the crazy thing. When Don did call me, okay, he was mad at me. Remember? And he says, man, you owe her an apology. I said, okay, I'll apologize. And it's on YouTube. I said, Candace, if I made that mistake, I am so sorry. I thought he was in there. And if you're saying he wasn't and he's saying he wasn't, well, then I guess he wasn't. Okay. And we left it at that. But to this day, I don't know. He said he wasn't. Okay, great. He said a lot of things. And I think everybody has now, post that time, have figured out that this guy is good. He's real good.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he left it with, I'll do everything in my power to slander you. Remember that part?
I remember that part very well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, get in line.
Yeah. You're going to have to do better. This is Monday and it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
That's what he does. He goes nuclear on people.
Oh yeah. 0 to 60.
Like,
try being on the receiving end of that. I have all of that on tape, by the way. I've
been on the receiving end of it. It's
yeah,
yeah, this is a clip from when he was on prayer. Well, I won't say. Just listen.
There is no investigation. This boy has.
There's not really news to me.
It's just like there's not. That's news to me. I mean, just the he's it's weird too because he gets reeled back in really fast too. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. I got a little get off my property. I mean, that's what he does.
Well, yeah,
And
his hook is, I don't know. I don't remember.
yeah,
Okay. And when he feels like he doesn't have an answer, okay, then it turns, what he likes to call, he's got that prison mentality. He calls it that.
right.
Okay. Well, this guy could have done it because he's got that prison mentality. Okay. Well, how would you know that unless you have that prison mentality? If I say the guy thinks like a cop, it's because I know how cops think. And if he says, well, he's got that prison mentality, well, that means you must have that prison mentality because, in my opinion, anyway, as a cop who understands that prison mentality because it's been used against me many times on the street. Okay. These guys are, they don't wake up one day and decide, yeah, you know what, today I'm going to take the day off. Okay. Till they need another fix. And then all of a sudden it's a robbery in progress.
So it's interesting timing that Don's been in the pokey for what now, 2-3 weeks, and now they're out searching again in areas of interest. That they've had conversations with Don in jail. I'd be shocked if they hadn't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that would almost be almost unbelievable. And that makes me question, is the house of cards falling apart?
Yes.
And it feels that way. Does it not feel that way to you, Chris?
Yeah. And right. You and we talked about this.
Yeah.
Well, I think about 2 weeks ago on your show, I think. I said, we're going to start seeing cracks. And they're going to try.
Happened.
And did I not say Don will still try to control the narrative? And now that Candace has her own YouTube, what was the first fight over? I don't trust you. About what? Trust her about what?
To keep her mouth shut?
While he's eating his peanut butter and jelly sandwich, she's up there, saying, look, I'm trying to reminisce about the children. And by the way, I don't love you anymore.
Wow.
Note to self, call coming in. Behavior has consequences.
And then so that happens. She goes on this whole, like, anybody really cares if she loves Don or not anyway. She goes on this whole thing. I love you, Donnie, but I'm not in love with you. I'm done with Donnie. And will Don, and then if Don hears this, and I'm sure that he will, and he has somehow, some way. Well, now he's going, well, what am I keeping secrets for then? I'm the one with 7 alibis, if that's in fact true.
Now think about the relevance of that statement under these conditions. Right?
Yeah.
Why,
I mean,
all of a sudden, both sides, as they used to say, Ricky, you have some explaining. Okay. From I Love Lucy. Lucy, you have some explaining. Okay. This one is Candace, you have some explaining. Okay. That's exactly what that was. It was a shot across the bow. It was a threat. It was a threat. It's kind of, look at the leader over there in Europe. Look, I'm putting my nuke people on notice. Okay. What? What have you gone mad? Mutual destruction here? Come on, knock it off. Back away. But what Don does, you see, he throws it up there. And if you try to cross him, okay, he strikes. He doesn't threaten, he strikes. Right. Because that's all he knows. And that's why we see this behavior in these explosive, triads. I'm trying to think of the word, but these explosive, go ahead, say it again.
Diatribe.
Yeah, thank you so much. Diatribes. We see this, this explosive behavior. But who catches it most? He explodes on women. I mean, it's just horrible. But this is who he is. And what's really interesting about that is where everybody is, well, not everybody, but a lot of people have been saying, oh, what if he didn't do it? Okay. So what if he didn't do it? Now you have to convince Jeannie that he didn't do that. Okay. So he didn't hurt Summer. Awesome. Get around him, sing Kumbaya, do whatever you need to do. Okay. But Jeannie has a different opinion about her, what happened to her. So do the other 6 women. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. I will submit that to anybody. And quite frankly, if somebody lived like that, and everybody's making excuses for it, God help us as a society. Where are we headed?
Marlena says here, maybe going off cell phone data pings. If Don was arrested with his cell phone, can LE go through it without his permission?
With a warrant, yes.
They'd have to go, even if he's arrested, they have to go to the judge still and say, hey, we want to search his property.
Unless he gives consent, correct.
Yeah, exactly there. And
that is a really good point, Marlena. That is an excellent point, because this could be a whole new cell phone with all new data.
Oh, absolutely. Who knows what's on those things? Cell phones, when cell phones were invented, it became a game changer for investigations. In a major way. And here's Levitt asked the last couple days, I've had questions. I saw someplace that Hawkins County has not done the timeline check, the tapes. Is that usual, Chris, or is that because TBI and FBI have the CCTV videos from that day? Just thinking. So someplace that Hawkins County has not done the timeline checked the tapes. Am I reading this wrong?
I'm assuming that meant the CCT tapes. Are those the tapes, or those 911 tapes? I'm living. What part of that?
I'm not. Throw that back up, and we will. I'm just, the punctuation's a little off to ask the question, but I do want to answer Levitt's question, and I will try to be looking out for it as much as possible. Let's see here. There are 3 children missing from a foster home in Carter County, Tennessee. I would be asking why so many children missing in Tennessee. I mean, that's a great question. It's just not something, I mean, who knows why? I'll tell you why. There's predators and careless parents, and children just aren't protected the way that they should be. That's the short answer and the long answer. And Chris has talked many times about how you can help prevent, that kind of stuff. Nothing's ever going to protect all of our children all of the time, but there are things that you could do to try to combat it. Do you think that Candace will try to run when they get close to finding Summer? I mean, who knows? What do you think, Chris? It's possible, but who knows?
Well, usually that's not a good idea.
I mean, it's almost an admission of guilt. I mean, in my opinion, if somebody's taken off when never, great job, Josh and Chris, treating Summer with the respect she deserves. She deserves the utmost respect. And we're just trying to be people that do respect her and the situation, because it is a touchy situation.
Thank you for your kindness on that comment.
Absolutely. Randy says Monkey Michael Vaughn is coming home. Candace says, I need to put Summer on the side, or put Summer to the side, on the side, something, like that. Yes, there's a huge contrast in the way that people act when their child goes missing. One seems pretty normal. When your child goes missing, you're a basket case. How could you not be? And then there's people like Candace who just, I get people grieving their own way, but I mean, this is uncharted territory when it comes. Casey Anthony didn't seem too concerned about her daughter either, when she was under suspicion for, Kaylee's disappearance. There's some similarities there. Vet Girl RWB says, when Candace closed the basement door when leaving the basement area during your interview, how does someone close a deadbolt lock door from the outside? Well, they don't.
Yeah, she locked the door handle, the knob. It had a lock on the inside as well.
Abs.
Yeah, I think she was going to go in. My initial impression when she said that, I thought she was going to go in, close the door behind her, and throw the deadbolt, and then come back up the same way we went in. But instead, she went in. That's why I kept walking. And she went in. She, goes in for a second. I think she checked the lock to make sure it was, not deadbolted. But she locked the handle and pulled it, and then checked it again.
Why was there a hole in the middle of the floor that led to the basement? Is that something that was added?
Dude, I'll tell you, that was right out of the Twilight Zone.
Have you ever seen anything like that?
No, it was right out of the Twilight Zone. No, I've had a couple of things, in my time, but, I came around, I hit something with a door one time, and there's another story behind that, but it was pretty freaky. It was right out of a horror movie.
And the fact that there's little kids in that house that go down that way is kind of
for any 5-year-old to have the chutzpah to get down there, and it's pitch black like that, with one light in the very back and some light flowing over.
Well, Chris, you and I had talked about this as well, and Steve brought it up or talked about it again last night, and this is where I have most of the trouble. What kid, what little girl, let alone child, under the age of, I don't know, 16, is going to want to go down in that dark, nasty, damp basement by themselves to play with their toys, especially after they've said Summer's an outside girl. Summer loves to be outside, but yet she goes down into the basement and plays by herself on an afternoon. I just can't imagine any child wanting to do that. And Steve also said, well, that's the only way that the abduction theory works. I agree. Out of sight, not responsible. Everywhere else, there's people everywhere else, everywhere around that property. There's a lot of people there. And there's a reason why the story is the basement. Well, we can't see. Somebody must have snuck in. Well, that seems darn near impossible. It's not impossible, but it begs belief. And so what she's doing is plausible deniability. I didn't see her. We all lost track of her, even the boys. And she throws the boys in there, which, in my opinion, is disgusting. I don't understand why she would even bring them up. But she did. But I just have a hard time believing that she was in that basement. I just have a hard time believing that.
She wasn't in that basement. She's never been in that basement other than to sleep and to be contained.
Probably didn't even like that.
Well, I mean, she interjects the toys in the narrative 4 times, right? I think we talked about that last night. Somebody that saw it last night refreshed my memory, but she's out in the kitchen playing with toys. That's the first, there's she's sitting there in the kitchen, right? When she comes in, it says, Summer, do you want to plant flowers? She jumps up, right? Again, comes out. Something to that effect, right?
What do you
And
mean
she
by
was
be contained?
well, she was being contained down there in the basement, okay, i.e. the dungeon, and the boys were responsible for that, i.e. not the boys doing it. Their parents are responsible. I should have stopped myself for a second there, but the parents are responsible for placing the boys in front of her in those bunk beds. Okay, now what I mean by that is, yeah, that's where they're sleeping, but you notice they had the bunk beds upstairs. Okay, so when you first come in to the left were the bunk beds, and then you go downstairs in the basement are bunk beds. So if you look through various photographs on Facebook, you'll see that those bunk beds were upstairs. And they used to be right when you come through the door. Well, okay, well, you see, that's like asking yourself, okay, why now are they downstairs? Are these two sets of bunk beds, right? And maybe the ones upstairs are gone now. I don't know. But I do feel that with Don's statement saying, and with as many times as she, CW throws the boys under the bus. To your point, why are we introducing the boys into this conversation? Okay. I mean, what's going on there? I don't know. But I definitely felt that, and Steve and I talked about it before we went on the air last night. What's your read on this? And we both have our opinions based on our experiences.
Mary says, "Is this bigger than just summer?" Who knows? No, in my opinion, when I say bigger than summer, this case is all about summer, and so no, in the sense that that's who we're looking for. Now, in the totality of the entire situation, yes, the every kid in that house was in danger, and now they're not. So that is yes, and no is the answer. That's how I feel. What about you, Chris?
I mean, we don't know it. I do not sense that this is, again, a random, hey, there's a little girl up there, let's go get her. Okay. Again, statistically, all the investigative experience of many people, okay, came to the conclusion that there's no evidence of an abduction, quote unquote. Okay. Now, these are the people, not only did I say it, but they used the same, the same theories or the same, tools to an investigator that we all have. I teach it to cops. Okay. And so everything told us, and we all know what that is now, hopefully, the victim risk continuum. Everything told us something's not right here at the house. Don't leave the house. Look at Suzanne Morphew, same thing. Don't leave the house. I said, Morphew case, I'm not leaving the house yet. I said in Miliete's case, I'm not leaving the house. Not yet. Until we have other evidence pointing us out. And today, I still haven't left the house.
When you say leave the house, you're talking about suspects?
Yeah, I mean, somebody had access to that property. Somebody involved in Summer's disappearance had access to that property. Now, it could be a friend, could be a neighbor, it could be anybody, but they knew the environment to get her if this was somebody random. So if it's not random, that means they're known to the parents and the parents know them. And then you hear, Candace one night in a half stupor say, well, I want to tell them what happened. Okay. What?
That was crazy to hear.
Now's the time, CW. Now is the time. While Donnie's locked up. Yeah. If you know more, hopefully you made that call last night and told them, hey, I need to tell you something. But we don't know.
And Kimberly says, after listening to Steve on the interview room, I'm thinking Summer was left asleep in a hot car. He said there is sensitivity about opening that car door. Uh, yeah, that was very interesting. When she did that, and we've talked about this before, I've done an entire show where I gave a theory about the swimming hole, and that's what it was a theory. It was it was speculation, but it all boiled down to the part where she told you she just jumped right up, she just jumped right up. I don't know anybody that wakes up, especially a drowsy little kid that's been swimming in the sun. I used to fall asleep on the way back from the river all the time when I was a kid. You're just tired. It happens. It's normal. It's not uncommon. But I tell you what, I never jumped right up out of any car when I got home. I don't know many little kids that do. The way that she emphatically said that raised all kinds of red flags. And then Steve even went further as to say, when she went to open that door, she had trepidation. There was some sensitivity there. It's almost like she didn't want to do it. And she really laid it on thick for you when she said that, Chris. Good catch by Steve. Absolutely razor sharp thinking. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
To me, that just tells me she didn't jump right up. She overqualified. Nobody asked if she jumped right up. That was never a question. That was something that she thought that she needed to say to sell even more. I mean, what was your take from Steve saying that? Did you catch that before?
No, I mean, no, I didn't catch it to that detail, to be honest with you. So, yeah, no, he sparked on that one, and I, started thinking through it, and I do have a couple of calls into some colleagues that I'm going to have. There's always that question about that picture, right? So we're going to resolve that.
It's funny that you and I have had that conversation about the picture, and it was about that long, that conversation, because I said to you what I thought, and you said, I don't know.
Yep.
And then I go, because I don't know either. I mean, I
Right.
can speculate, and I'm not an expert in that. I don't want to say something. I don't want to say that she's not alive in that picture, because first and foremost, I don't know. I'm not trained to look at pictures and be able to decipher exactly what's going on. I look at that picture, and I do think that that it's not a normal situation, whatever that picture is, but I don't know that. And that was your answer to me, and that kind of stuck with me, and that's where I've kind of left it from that moment. So that will be interesting to see what is said about that, Chris, on the way. And I do look forward to hearing um, more about that.
Yeah,
And
the guy I'm going to be. I was just with him a week ago, and he did some of the war crime stuff in the Baltics years ago.
oh wow,
Yeah, he's been in the international courts, and he's a big deal. You'll enjoy him
yeah. So that'll be coming up, in the near future.
on his schedule, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We've been playing phone tag.
That's kind of how this game goes. And Levitt says here, yes, whoever has her or wherever she is, they know something. If others are involved, they know who. Agreed. They know who they are. I grew up in a small town. Someone always knows. 100% agreed with you. I couldn't agree with you anymore. Obviously, somebody, if it's not them, they know who, they know with who or what happened. That's my personal opinion. It'll always be my opinion until somebody proves me wrong. And I don't think that that's that crazy of an opinion as well. And Cynthia, thank you so much for that as well. And Sandy Lee, thank
Sandy.
you. Very
Haven't seen her
nice.
in a while. Uh-huh.
Vet
Yeah.
Girl says the feeling that you must have felt when you went in that basement. Prayers and
Well,
respect, sir.
Well, Vet Girl, I mean, you've probably had that same sense, kicking the door in and going, "Oh, what's here?" So yeah.
One of the moments that stuck out to me when you went down in that basement, and after you looked around there for a minute, you turned and looked at Candace and you said, "Thank you. I understand. I understand Summer now."
Yep.
And it was almost like, I understand.
I
And
had
then
an epiphany, for lack of a better term.
yeah, and then she goes, "Well, you're welcome." I went, I don't know if he's thanking you in jest, but she didn't understand what you meant by that. But I certainly did. Curious, her two statements: "I walked her into the house" versus "if only I'd walked her out." I don't think she was a helicopter mother of any kind, and I don't think that she walked the kids anywhere. That's just my personal opinion. But and another thing that somebody said on your show last night, this wasn't Steve, this was somebody else, but what they said was, if she was to ask the boys, "Where's Summer?" and she said she's down in her room playing, that's typically the end of the conversation for most parents and children, right? You're done from there on out. And then the fact that she says, "Well, I went down and I was hollering and she didn't." And then she was just gone. That's how she said it. She was just gone. Is one of the most unbelievable statements of her whole, because you used the word evaporated yesterday. That's what they would want us to believe. That's whoever has done this, whoever did this, whoever put Summer where she is now, because she didn't get there on her own. And even the parents say that she wouldn't wander off. I know that TBI has released statements saying things like, "Well, it's a possibility that she walked off, but it's also a possibility, uh, that there was foul play, or there's a possibility that everybody's a suspect, or that's not a real answer. It's just, throwing things out there."
Or there's a possibility when they asked the mother an hour before, "What are the odds?" on a 1 to 10, right? What does she say? 50%.
50-50.
Yeah. So it's
Which
kind
is
of
not an
like,
answer.
okay, well, there's a possibility. So I was rolling with the 50. So are you tracking me there? So you notice I didn't answer which 50. Okay. So she was selling soggy bread again. Okay. And she thought she put it in a little package and handed it to me. And I walked outside and went, "Hey, I got some soggy bread. Anybody want some?" No. Okay. When I said I understood her now. One of the things I've had, in my heart and my head since that moment is the positioning of where that bed was. And then I scanned that room. You'll see the camera keep moving because I wanted to document this for my own thought process, because one of the things, if I would have had the opportunity, I would have sat in that room for about an hour, because that room would have told me for me, it would have told me all kinds of stories. Okay. Not the narrative that I was hearing, but the secret life. I got the public persona. Okay. I've got the, the personal persona. I wanted the secret life. And what I saw was the secret life. I saw how the boys, because I heard how Dad positioned the boys. We've told them so many times, keep an eye on Summer. Okay. Well, does that mean they didn't keep an eye on Summer? Does that mean their room is positioned to keep an eye on Summer? Because she's the only one in the corner, okay, on that filthy mattress. Does that mean he's grooming them on how to control women? Does that mean, this little girl, okay, that he could say, you guys go upstairs and sleep. And now he has availability, quote unquote, every night. These are his words. They're not mine. And anybody that accuses me of saying these words, then I'm going to call you a liar. These are Don's words. Every single night, she would only want to sleep with me. Okay? Till she was 5. Every night. And, people were like, when I first said that, which I didn't say, well, my kid sleeps with me. Yeah, well, I have 4 children. I have cuddled with my children. Okay? Because that's normal. But when you have an isolated dungeon, that's not normal. Okay? And, to have your child every single night. And think about what the last time he said he experienced with her. Skin to skin contact. Now I'm going to go, I could go for days on that, okay, but I won't. But there is a whole bunch of other messaging in that. And lo and behold, the most amazing part of those types of comments, those were the things, some of the things that unwritten that triggered Jeannie as a survivor. She was 5. It started when she was 5. The moment Summer went missing, Jeannie picked up the phone and called TBI and said, for the first time in my life, and it's been 30-something years, I need to tell you what happened to me when I was 5, and Don did it. Now, you can say the universe is on schedule, or you can deny that, a window of healing is opening. And that was because she had the courage to do it. And then when I asked him, and everybody can hear the call, right? Go listen to it. Where I asked him one question. Theoretically, but by the time we got to the base end of the whole conversation, how old was she? Did he answer? Did he say 5?
No, what he said was, there ain't no talking to you, or something like that.
Yeah, that's what they all do.
There
They've
ain't
been doing
no
it for
talk.
40 years.
There ain't no talking to you.
Yeah.
And we're like,
right.
well, no, just answer the question. How old? Well, there's a reason why he doesn't want to answer the question, because when he answers it, it's going to sound terrible. Just answer
that's
the
why
question.
they're registered. That's why his son is registered.
Correct.
Which is a learned behavior, by the way. So is he teaching the other boys by controlling Summer? You see, these are things I haven't shared, publicly, but these are the thoughts that I was having. And that's when I say to her, I understand her now even better, because I saw the conditions that this little 5-year-old girl was in, and they're horrendous. And I apologize to any victims in the chat here if this is triggering you in any way. Forgive me. I'm not trying to bring you back to horrific memories either. God bless you for surviving. And I'm so grateful that you're here with us tonight to listen to this, because that tells me as a friend that you're getting healthy and you're able to stand up to these animals. Because that's what they are.
And I want to say thank you for everybody that is here. Chris, we got 2,500 in the chat. Great turnout. People love to come and listen to your thoughts. And it's always a pleasure, because you have such great insight, and it's invaluable. And the things that you do for Summer and victims in general cannot be, we cannot overstate what you do. You are a victim, a true victim's advocate, and we appreciate that. And kind as the day is long, I tell you, I remember watching you talk to Candace about her house, and you were just a gentleman. And she was, pretty well behaved. She was respectful, talking to you, it seemed like, and that was
She was.
reciprocated both ways, and you got a good, solid interview baseline really for the public is what it was, where, you're just going, wow, this is intense. Um, and now that we're back to they're searching again for this little girl, Summer Wells. What happens is emotions get stirred up. Everybody wants Summer to be found, and it is an anxiety ridden time. I've thought about this multiple times. What, when and if and hopefully she's found. That's going to be a tough day if she's found in the way that, I think that they will find her.
Mhm.
It's going to be a really emotional. Look how emotional it is right now, and we haven't found her. We don't have a body. We don't have a lead as to where she is. Law enforcement may, but the anxiety and the emotion, you know, I don't think that they would just announce this search like this. They know what they're doing when they release this information.
Absolutely, 1000%.
And so that makes me think that they are truly onto something, and that these searches aren't just due diligence, which I'm sure part of that may be true, but they have very specific places in mind, from intelligence, from previous searches, from planes, from drones, from whatever. They're onto something. What that is, I don't know. And I hope that we get the answers that we're looking for. But it is the most important thing is that Summer be brought home. And if she is alive, which would be a miracle, and miracles do happen. Don't think that they don't, but miracles do happen. But one way or the other, she's got to be found, and justice must be delivered to whoever has done whatever with Summer. As the longer this drags on, the more the public starts to get anxious and furious, understandably, but we have to support law enforcement. We have to trust them. They are still working this case. Obviously, they're out there searching. Do you think, Chris, that they are zeroing in on something?
I think they're definitely on the scent. They're in the vein. And I think the fact that unfortunately they're searching outside versus doing search warrants inside kind of concerns me, with the fact that we've already, gone through a harsh winter, floods, rain, all the other elements in that area. Hey, and the fact that they're searching externally, that means they're talking to something or somebody, or they've discovered some digital footprint somewhere that is telling a different story than what they've heard. And so now there is technology that can pinpoint things much more than what we think. And sometimes it just has to go through the process to get the data back. So, and it could take as long as it has, to be honest with you. There's a backlog, unfortunately, of many, many cases that are sitting in, the office at the feds. And so
Yeah.
go ahead.
No.
I always try to remain optimist, but I'm also a realist because of, things, obviously, and statistics and just, the type of person. But I will tell you this, if she didn't walk away, i.e. get lost while playing hide and seek or something to that effect, okay, and this is a mere accident, we're going to know that quickly. They'll know that quickly.
But that to me though, Chris, that doesn't make any sense, because if that was a real possibility, Candace and Dawn would have known that.
Well,
Kids
yeah,
don't
and
just up
that's
and wander off one day. Now, look, when we're talking about Michael Vaughn, he had been known to kind of run around the neighborhood a little bit. That was his thing, but that just means to me that he was open in a residential area to possibly predators who knew, watching neighborhoods, because that's what happens. There's no neighborhood to watch here. You're going to have a huge telescope to see what's going on up there. And they would have said that she wandered off. She wandered off. And I truly think that they would have found her within a
that's
day.
a possibility if she, but so then the other question then is, okay, if she did wander off, okay, which I don't think she did, but I don't know yet, right? So I'm always I have to, like you and everybody else, we have to maintain a neutral position and think, okay, well, is that a possibility? Yes, it's still on the table. It's a possibility based on some things that I even heard. I mean, about the hide and seek thing. Were they playing hide and seek? Okay. And if in fact she did, and they found her and she was hurt, and now we have a secondary problem. What would be the motive for her to get a couple of miles down the road, hypothetically? Okay. Well, there's a couple of things, right? What's in that house? What's in the behavior? Behavior is evidence. That's why Jeannie is so important here. Either we believe her or we don't. I believe her 10,000%, because I know what happened to her. And she not only told me, she's told it in detail to the investigators. And then when that happened, 6 other women came forward and said, well, let me tell you what happened, independent of Jeannie, that they didn't talk, by the way. They saw the YouTube, and they go, wow, he just admitted it to her. I want the same freedom as a survivor and a victim. So are we to say that those other 6 are, wacky? No, they are real victims. And his MO is consistent in all of them. One of them even wet the bed. Who does that to somebody? So he's got a bigger train coming, and it happens to have a snowplow on it.
Yes,
this is why he can fantasize. And remember, all this behavioral, deviant behavior like that all starts up here. It's all in the play. They just don't wake up one day and decide, okay, I need to do this. No, they watch, they learn. His son, his biological son, did not get registered by the state of Utah, okay, by accident. Okay. Everybody says, well, he was, she was young and he was young. Well, okay. And what's your point? She's a victim, and the parents knew it, and they threw him in prison where he should have been. It's just like my daughter. If that would have happened to my daughter, well, good luck. You're going to prison.
Absolutely.
Have a great day.
Kimberly says, go ahead.
That's another reason that somebody could be chit-chatting here in the jail. You know,
Do you think the person that talks gets the deal?
I think the person that talks is the smartest in the bag of chips.
Yeah, they're pretty even keel on that, but yeah, you're right. Whoever talks is going to be the smarter one. It's a toss up at this point. Um,
Yeah.
Never forget that Don took out $2,000 and went to Knoxville handing out crack to uh, all the patrons of the street. You know, I
Yeah.
don't have
And
much faith in him.
well, and how do you introduce yourself when you're on Dr. Phil and the behavior panel says, "Hey, tell us a little bit about you." Oh, well, I was raised in the system. Well, we appreciate that part of this. This is going to be easy.
Well,
Okay.
basically, I was born in a prison, and then I escaped because I was a baby. I could fit through the
Yeah. Yeah.
the bars, and then what happens is I could fit just as easily back in there. I mean, yeah, some of the things that he says are
But you see,
just
that's his identity. That's his
yeah,
identity. He's projecting that into his public persona of this is who I am. And let me tell you a little bit about my my secret life, okay, or my private life. But I'm not going to let you into what I did to my sisters, my stepsisters.
right.
I'm not going to let you there or her girlfriends. Not letting
And
you
I'm
in
not
there.
and I'm not going to answer your
Right.
question about how old she was. Stop
Yeah,
asking.
and that's why he's so mad at me.
Yeah, there's no talking to you.
I'm good with it. I love it. No problem.
Yeah,
You
like you
know,
really
I'll
want to
write.
talk to him.
No, I would. I still would treat him with respect, and he knows that. He knows that. You know, I'll write him, when he's in prison one day and say, hopefully they gave you a room with a view.
Yeah, bake him a cake with a file in it. Let's see. Kimberly says it sticks out that H said Grandis was out of her mind that day. No doubt drugs were on board for both. They could have slept for hours with Summer locked in the car, blocked in by the mower even. Sure. My theory
Sure.
has always
Absolutely.
been of an accident. I don't know what the accident, but that's always been my theory, and a cover up because of things that may have transpired that they didn't want found. My insane world of beauty, Tara, she is all over YouTube channels, but she hasn't told the same version of what happened in any of these videos. My biggest problem is how could Dawn essay her without Candace noticing? Well, good point. Good question.
Great point. Agree.
Who says that she didn't? I don't know. But I'm
We'll
just saying
find
it's a
out.
good question. Yeah. All these
She's got a
things.
YouTube channel. You can answer that one, Candace.
Yeah. It's something that she should be asked. In the pick of
Make a
summer, her
video.
right ear is yeah, exactly. Please. And then post it everywhere so everybody can see it. And the pick of summer, her right ear is black, nail beds white, cuticles blue. If she had her arms up, they wouldn't have fallen into that position. Well, that's something, that's what, to Chris's point and his experts coming on, he's going to dive right into that. And I understand what people say they see in the picture. Pictures aren't always clear. There's all kinds of problems with, when they take photos at crime scenes. There's a reason that they use high resolution cameras. That what you saw was not a high resolution picture by any stretch of the imagination. Who knows what kind of quality, or it's hard to say. Even for an expert, it will be hard
Yeah.
to say.
I don't think he'll tell us. I think he will, based on right now, the evidence, in position, he may give us some thought.
Yeah, and right here it says, Melissa says, I think the entire interview showed Summer's rank in the family. Thank you both for bringing light to what survivors can never forget. Hashtag
Thank you,
SA
Melissa.
survivor. Thank you for sharing that. And yes, let's see here. Chris McDonough's interview with both parents. Yeah, Meredith's great. And Meredith, I saw your post earlier. I know it was just your opinion, and your opinions have always been respectful and welcome. So thank you for that. Chris McDonough's interview with both parents have given the most comprehensive info out there. I said this to Chris earlier. It's the infrastructure for people like us on YouTube. What Chris has done is invaluable. And if you think that law enforcement doesn't appreciate what he has done, you're a fool. You're wrong. They have all of his stuff. He sends it to them. Trust me, they're matching everything up. Every discrepancy will be found out between, and like you said, Chris, I'm sure that they walked her through with a video camera on there and said, tell us what happened. And then they're going to look back at your walkthrough video as well and go, well, she said this here. She said this here. Now it's just a good cross-checking point where they can trip her up in a court of law, or even in an interview room. There's a callback to your channel. See how that works, Chris? Chris, you are a famous person, so professional. Much love from Australia.
I don't know about that, G, but we love you. Thank you.
He sure is. He sure
Those are
is
the best.
famous. He's a famous detective. It's like Matlock, but without the hot dogs. Thank you, Josh and Chris. This is profound tonight. I notice C and Summer jumped up from playing with her toys as well as from the car. Yeah, just jumping up all the time, you know.
Yep. Yep. But she didn't scream.
Nope.
In the basement.
That'd be a loud scream. That'd be a real loud scream.
Yeah, well, I've thought about that thought process based on some of the other things people were saying, and I don't think so. I don't know. I think it's unfounded.
I agree with that as well. Thank you for the time and effort you put in on this case, on these cases, Josh and Chris, and absolutely thank you for your kind words. And Cynthia, thank you for becoming a member, and Jesse SX, thank you as well. So basically where we're at here is the search is still on. The case is not cold. They are actually still actively searching 8 months. Are we going in on 9 months now? I mean, we're close, right?
Yeah, it's close. Yeah.
And it just feels like it's weird because it doesn't feel like that long ago, but then sometimes it feels like it was 9 years ago. Just depends on the day. I don't know. I don't know. And your patience. I've always thought of myself as a pretty patient person. I've learned patience over the years. I thought you're about as patient as they come. Is that something you learned just from working homicide and being a police officer? Patience.
I've always been a pretty level-headed guy. Not all the time. I mean, I have a side of me that says, no, we're not doing that. But that, to get me there, takes a really long time. I try to, because I've learned, I've sometimes you just go too quick, and you mess up and you make mistakes, and you realize, well, I shouldn't have done that. And and so I try to just pace myself. I'm not, in any way stretch of the imagination got it wired yet, but at the same time, I've learned in the interview room has taught me, not this YouTube channel, but sitting across from these guys that have done the most horrendous things, and you have a choice. I mean, you can either pound on the table and say you're going to tell me, okay, or you don't. And I learned that not only there, but I also learned I haven't shared it very much, but I was a hostage negotiator for 11 years. And I had a father one time who he had 4 kids. And long story short, he was holding them all hostage as a potential murder-suicide in his car. And over a period of, I think it was almost like 5 hours, I got all 4 of the kids out of the car, um, the magazine to the gun, eventually the last bullet and the gun, and I had him put it up on the roof of his car. In fact, I have the cassette of, because we record all of that back in the day.
Yeah.
And I have the cassette, but it's like 15 cassettes. It was so long. And when it was all over, when he got out of the car, he was crying. And he looked at me as they were hooking him up, and he said, "Sir, can I give you a hug?" I'm like, "Sure. Are you okay?" He goes, "Yeah." And he went for 72 hours. They balanced him out, got him off of, got him on meds. But had I not been patient with that guy, he probably would have killed his whole family and then himself. And those are the kind of things where you just learn, is it worth it to open your mouth, insert your foot? And on YouTube, I mean, you say one word wrong, just one word, and there are 5,000 multiple interpretations, and you're toast. So
Right.
I've just, okay, whatever they're going to think, that's their problem. God knows my heart.
He absolutely does. And you do have a, yeah, you have just a fantastic way about you, Chris. You're very humble and happy caffeinated couple. One of the best
That's the
names
best.
on YouTube.
I love those guys.
Yeah, there's something else. Chris, thank you for treating people with kindness, respect, and dignity. And as
Thank
you say, keeping it classy. He absolutely does keep it classy, even when he's playing the ukulele. He's
Yeah.
he's a classy ukulele player.
And I want to thank you, everybody. I'm going to make a quick announcement here for Mr. Josh. This, I'm not the best judge of character sometimes, but I am on this one. This guy here is the real deal. He's in front of the camera and behind the camera, off track. He's a really good guy. And so, I asked him, well, he asked me about the Letitia song when he put the Letitia video together. He said, "Hey, I do this. I hope you're okay with it." And I was like, "Do what you do. I mean, that's you're an expert at what you do. You do good." Okay. And he told me after he did it. So I was like, well, in my head, I'm like, well, you already did it. But he had so much, he put so much thought into it. He really wanted to just let me know because, I was so close and I still am close to that case. Well, he asked me, "Do you have the song?" And this was when you first kicked it up. And if I remember right, I said, "No, I don't know if I have it anymore." Well, just as a stroke of luck, I lifted up where I keep all my stuff in the Airstream that has some sentimental value. And there was the only tape that I had left from 30 something years ago. And I called him and I said, "Josh, you're not going to believe this. I found the tape. Do you know how to, help me digitize this thing or make it so that, make it work," basically. And I sent it to him and tell him, I'm very grateful for him for doing this 100%. Um, tell them what you did to make sure that you didn't break it.
So what was so what I did was I had it's a tape, and I had a couple tape players just because, and I took off the front housing of the cassette player because of how um old the tape was. I was concerned that there may be something, faulty from just 30 years of just sitting there. And so to preserve it and to make sure to monitor it, I took a headlamp. I put a headlamp on. I took the top of the tape player off. And as I played it, I sat there with my head down watching the reel go just to make sure that it wouldn't catch. And at first, the first tape player I put it in, the crank on the tape player wasn't working. So I go, because you were concerned the tape may not work at all. And
Or it would break.
it
Yeah.
would break.
Yeah, that have been
And
disintegrated internally.
and so what I did was I was able to get it transferred on. I was able to digitally transfer it, and now I'm working on remastering it to give it the best quality possible. And that's what that's what I do a lot of as well. Not only hosting shows and things like that, but I also work on sound engineering and things like that. So it was not the easiest of processes, but I externally hooked up a microphone that was made for that, and I was able to salvage the sound. And like I said, and now we're gonna have a remastered copy of it, and it already sounds fantastic. And by the way, I told you, Chris, after working on it that day, I went to bed singing the song that night, and I'm excited to. It's catchy, man, and I'm excited to debut it. Let everybody hear it, because it's what a phenomenal idea. And why don't we talked about this before, but the reason you did that was because it was to spread awareness in a time where information was hard to get out. It's not like it is now.
Yeah, it was, there was a lot of leads coming in that were chasing her eastbound across the country. And so I thought to myself, what if she's in a car? How do I get information into that car?
Mm.
And so I went to the lieutenant at the time, a guy named Ron Call, just an amazing human being. And I said, "Hey, LT, I've got an idea." He's always like, "What is it, McDonough?" I said, "I'm going to write a song, and I'm going to get it recorded, and we're going to play it on the radio." He goes, "Yeah, okay." Well, I did. And it played on the largest stations in LA, San Diego, all over. It went today, they would say it went viral.
And we're gonna make sure that it's never lost now.
Well, and you know what? And maybe I can ask you, I mean, we can either do it, I want to do it here because you got it fixed. And, but I want to maybe see if there's a cause so that, people can donate to something, either you or, whatever. But I want to make sure that the reward fund has been dissolved by the bank. So it's been over 30 something years, but maybe, the Center for Missing and Exploited Children, maybe something to that effect.
Be great.
We could, drive something, that direction. And then, we can, talk about it. And because I just think that's the right thing to do.
I would love to be a part of that, and we can absolutely do something like that. let's see here. We're pushing
And
2
you're the
hours.
local monkey, but it's
What's
got
that?
Letitia's name in it.
Absolutely.
How
Absolutely.
fun would that be?
Oh,
Yeah,
that
let's do it for Monkey
That's absolutely do it for him.
and have them donate to the Monkeys Reward Fund. That's a great idea. Who put that up there? Mandy. Oh, wow. That is a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you think that would be okay, Josh?
Absolutely 100%. That's what this channel's for. And it is awareness and help and anything. It would be more than okay. And I'd actually be honored to do that. And so we will definitely set that up. That would be something fantastic. Now, like I said, we're going on 2 hours here. You're a little bit farther behind than I am on the East Coast, and I appreciate your time. But now, you know that we have a good solid group in here. I want to play your voicemail one more time on the way out, so everybody can hear it.
Well, before you do that, let's all weigh in and tell them, where are you at? Tell us where you guys are.
Chris McDonough, you're the next contestant on.
Come on, everybody.
Hey.
Tell us where you are.
Oh.
And by the way, this was Josh's idea to get this board. So now I'm going to give him a little of his medicine.
It wasn't necessarily my idea. It was.
Look how many. Look at everybody's weighing in, buddy.
Yeah, look.
This is awesome. Chicago. I got to keep this going. Hang on.
Keep it going.
I am. I'm sorry, Vancouver. Hang on. Tennessee, West Virginia, Pennsylvania. Good to see you. Scotland. I love the Scots. North Carolina. Born in North Carolina. I get you. Canada. Love you guys up the north of us. Baltimore. Man, love it. Knoxville, Tennessee. Love it. Vancouver, Canada, out there on the west side of the country. New Hampshire. West Coast. Mississippi. Spell that 10 times. Georgia. Get me a basket of peaches. I love it. You guys are the best. Pancakes. Pancakes. I love it. Robert De Niro. I'm watching you. Yeah. New York. Good to see you. Mississippi, Washington State. Georgia. Western Australia. What's going on with Australia? Love you guys out there. Escondido. Oh, I know Escondido really well. Louisiana, Florida, Aussies, Bostonian, Beantown. Good to have you. And go pack the cat. Love you. Mississippi, SoCal's in the house. Chicago, the Windy City, Delaware.
Couple Kentuckys.
Yeah, exactly. Kentucky. Keep going. You got it now, Josh. Go.
South Carolina in the house. Utah. Let's see here. You're my favorite couple. Ha ha. Oh boy. Justice for Summer. Let's see. Texas is in the house. Missouri. Double Missouri. Back to back. Michael Jordan, 96, 97. Pennsylvania. We got Central Illinois in the house. Virginia. Go. What is that? What's the team from Virginia? I always forget. The Michael Vick's brother played for. Josh, get Chris to do the Crip Walk with you, please. I'm sure we will at another time. Ooh, yeah. Boom, boom, boom. God bless you and Chris for your love for the lost, your service. Your services are appreciated. Bless you and your families, and thank you so much. Maria, thank you so much. New Zealand in the house.
New Zealand, love it. Well, you guys over there in Tonga, they got hit with a big, huge tsunami. And New Zealand was in the neighborhood. I hope you guys are all okay over there. God bless you.
Absolutely. Michigan and Ontario. Wow. Everywhere, all over the world. New York, Southampton, England, and please keep everybody in.
Pray for Ukraine, right?
Pray for Ukraine, and God bless the protesters in Russia. How brave they are. They feel it. They are, just realize how blessed we are, and keep them in your prayers. It is so heartbreaking what's going on, but we will keep them in in our prayers. All right, Chris, anything before we hit the voicemail that you left me?
Thank you always, Josh, for the invitation. It allows me to kind of loosen up a little because I'm pretty
It's
structured.
always a good time, and you're a fantastic guest, and you leave fantastic voicemails too.
Well, now I have a project, so I am looking forward to not only hearing this one, but to hearing the next one.
Oh,
And
man.
don't be surprised if it's somebody you know.
So it wouldn't.
Okay, remember when you're, you know, the greatest exercise you'll do is lift somebody else up, and remember that no man got to the top of the mountain by falling there. So
It's true.
I can't wait to hear it. And when it's done, I'm going to sign off to give you your show back, and I apologize for chit-chatting too much over you. So, you know,
No, you didn't chit chat over me at all. All
right,
right, here it is, folks.
Hear it.
Hello, Holmes.
I got to turn my mic off because I'll laugh.
Seeing what you was up to, I been practicing my ukulele, and Karen finally got sick of it, and she kicked me and Buddy out the Airstreams. The strings of the ukuleles is kind of greasy. I was eating nachos and playing it yesterday, and I dropped a bunch of chips down in the middle of the ukuleles. And in between strummings, I try to reach down there and get me a nacho chip. I might be onto something here, Holmes. A nacho lady. Oh, look at little Buddy. She's so cute. Buddy, hey, knock it off. Let go of my khakis. Let go of my khakis. Oh, you little rascal. He's full of it. This ain't my first rodeos. I should have known better than to wear these. Every time I wear them, he looks at them like I'm wearing a hot dog around my ankles. And as I call that DLR. Doesn't look right. Oh, my loves, my darlings, let me back in the Airstreams tonight. And I said, what about breakfast at Tiffany's? She said, I think I'd remember the film. And as I recall, I think we both kind of likes it. All right, Holmes, I was just checking in, seeing what you was up to. I got to drop Buddies through the emergency hatch in the top of the Airstream so he can let me back in. K-Dogs isn't too happy about the ukuleles. With so much drumming in the Airstreams, it's kind of hard being Chris McDuff-ish. That's for my homies. Give you something to crip walk to. Anyway, take care. All right. Hey, K-Dogs, I broke another string on the ukulele. Can you not hide my strings, please? Buddy, stops. K-Dogs, he ripped my loafers and he ripped my khakis again. I know you told me not to buy the Brooks Brothers, but I had to do it. The drip never stops.
Love it, buddy. You're the best.
You're such a great sport, Chris. Thank you so much for being here.
And thank you for inviting me. And everybody, thank you so much. Hit that subscribe button. Share this with everybody. Have a good evening. Be good to each other. Thank you. Thanks, Josh. Have a good night.
Take care.
Very
Chris.
well done.
Thank you. All right. Well, there you have it. What a fantastic show again. One of the best guests that we can ever have on. He is something special. Signing out here. I am Josh. He is your host for the lab. Thank you for being here. Have a good night.
There is no investigation. This boy has.
There's not, really? It is to me.
Ziggity naps and stuff.
F's and stuff. Don't say any F's and stuff.
There is no investigation. This boy has
There's not really. This to me.